Oh no.
Hello, I think.
You're muted.
And welcome to Game Day from the UK. I seem to be having some problems with my mic tonight. I'm going to be careful with it. I'm not going to touch any leads. But we are here. We are back with a full squad, and we are in great spirits because the Miami Heat are absolutely bowling, guys. What a result. We say it every time. But this just becomes the next game is just the best game of the season. Long may that continue. We've got our guys all back today. We've got Danny, John, and Sam. Danny, how are you, mate?
Yeah, brilliant, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm very good. Yes. John, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks.
Fantastic. And Sam, you good, mate?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. good. Yes, as I said, guys, we keep saying it every time. We keep saying, look, we're playing great now. This is the win of the season, but surely this tops it. John, I'll start with you. What did you make of this performance? To me, it felt like it had a real sort of playoff feel to it, a real intensity. Down the stretch is where big players take over. But first of all, what a game.
Yeah, loved it. Loved to see Jimmy playing like a finals Jimmy, getting at 30 points, just driving, getting buckets on anyone, getting people fouled, like almost fouled out. That was good. Bam was having a good game against Gobert. Really just started knocking down early jumpers, get him out of the lane. Nunn was pretty good defensively as well. That was a good sign. The only bad thing was Kelly still struggling from deep shooting. But apart from that, it was a great game.
Yeah, it was a really, really good game. As I said, one of my most enjoyable game of the season, even though I fell asleep about 3/4 of the way into the second. Most unlike me, I normally try and stay awake. And what a game to fall asleep for. But I did rewatch, obviously, the next morning to see us complete a fantastic victory. Sam, Jimmy Butler, this is where this guy, as we keep saying, this is why you're paying the big money. When it mattered down the stretch, he took over, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a superstar doing superstar things. It was lovely to see. I mean, we've gotten to a point where a couple of weeks ago, we had games where we're literally expecting the worst and we just come off, this is like our worst game of the season, thinking, oh, the next game surely gets better, and then we end up losing it. Now it's just a complete reversal. We're just having wins on wins, and who knows, our best win of the season is yet to come.
Yeah, definitely. This is the thing now. I mean, it seems crazy that it was only a week or so ago that we was just wondering where the next win was going to come from. We started to not question, but there was doubts that's been in who was going to come in. We had to make some trades instantly. Those talks all dying down now because the team is getting back to full health, looking great. Another man, apart from Jimmy Butler, with his fantastic performance once again, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. But another guy who's come back. And I've been so impressed, Danny, with Goran Dragic. Yes. I mean, a guy of his age, not doing him a downer because he's still 5 years young. He's still 5 years younger than me. But a guy of his age to come back and do these sort of things, I just expected him to really sort of bed in, take a bit of time to get back. Not the case at all. It's like bubble Goran, isn't it? What do you make of his return?
Yeah, man, the dragon breathing fire, right? He was brilliant, and to see. Just how sort of fresh he looks, was awesome. He's got his legs under him. His shot's looking great. He's confident, and like you said, Bubble Goran is back.
Yeah, definitely. John, is there an argument? I put this tweet out at some point during last season, but I made a claim that Goran Dragic, when he retires, wherever that may be, his jersey goes into the rafters. Is this are we getting carried away here, or is that legit?
I think his number should get retired. I haven't watched Tim Hardaway, but I think he's up there as our greatest point guard in team's history. So even if you're second, you still have to have your number retired then, and he will have longevity as well. He's been here for like 6 years now, so that's plenty of time for him to have his number in the rafters.
Yeah. Just quickly before we move on from Goran, Sam, he's got a player option next year. We know why we did this, to keep flexibility for a certain free agent who ended up not being even close to being a free agent, but we know why we did it. If he carries on the back end of probably his career best basketball in the bubble last year, and he's been exceptional in his return so far, do we take this player option? Because you look at the numbers and you think, well, okay, take the age out of it, etc. This is a guy who loves Miami. Miami love him. Do you just go? We'll take him up and give him his money again.
Oh,
Sam froze.
Well, I can take that if you want.
It, mate.
Yeah, I think. Is he?
Oh, yeah, I think we've got you back. We've got you back,
yeah,
Sam.
we've got him back. Go on, take it away, Sam. No, okay. Yeah, you pay him. Yeah, you pay him. But I think we gave him a sort of I don't know if you'd call it a balloon payment, but you gave him a big payment, this year, and he is getting on. So maybe he would look to, because I think he wants to stay here. He wants to retire here. He doesn't want to go anywhere. So I think maybe he'll sort of take a team friendly sort of deal. But he's definitely going to be here. He's definitely going to be in the rafters. There's no question about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally agree, and it'll be fully deserved. I mean, I've only followed the Heat. I think this is my 5th year. So apart from UD, obviously, he's the longest tenured player that I've seen. So nothing would make me happier than see the Dragon in the rafters. That'd be great. Sam, we've got you back, I think.
Oh, great. You hear us? I think it's actually a team option. I don't think it's a player option.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yes, it's a team option.
Yeah, so that just depends on who's available, I guess. I think obviously we'll want to continue to have him in the Heat. I believe they wouldn't take that team option. If anything, they'll still get a contract, but probably not as much. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it depends on who else is available on the market. If there's no one else, then I guess the team should give it to him. But yeah, it just gets me thinking back to a 30 and 11 team where we had all these players and we got them back out of, like, I don't want to say goodwill, but just coming off the sort of backlash with D Wade's issue. Yeah. And Pat and the front office just wanted to set it right by the players. So yeah, there's been some downside with those sort of actions, just handing out team options and just signing up players just because they've been on the Heat and they've had like good seasons. We don't want that hindering future performance. But like, if there's no one available, then I don't see why not. If there are players who can contribute to a higher level, then definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice problem to have, isn't it? If he's there, as I said, if all else fails, we'll take it. We'll take another year of Goran, definitely. John, there is at the moment one game separates 4th to 10th in the East, which is just ridiculous. And I know it's very easy we could say you could play this game going downwards, but with the Heat now the hottest team in the NBA on a 5-game win streak. And as we know, after All-Star break, the Heat become a better team anyway, historically. And we've got a very nice schedule. March looks very nice for us, as we've covered the last couple of episodes on here. We are at the moment just 5.5 games back from the top of the East, Philly. How high are we getting carried away here, or could we genuinely, can we burst that top 3 bubble, because they're the ones that have pulled away from the rest?
Honestly, don't think we can touch Nets or Philly, because they will just continue to do well. I think they got the top 2 as a lock, but then Bucks I think will have the 3rd seed because they're not having like any problems with injuries or anything like that. But then Celtics are having issues. Raptors are not that great as last year. Pacers are having troubles as well. Knicks, they're going to be Knicks. And with our easy schedule, I think top 4, top 5 is realistic.
Yep. Yeah, good, definitely. Just a quick shout out here to Twisted Tapioca. He's just commenting on the Goran Dragic share, saying he wants the option to get in decline for sure to take a team-friendly deal. He's already been paid for this, I believe, kind of thing. Wink, wink. Yeah, it's a good point. Listen out, we've got some content coming with Twisted Tapioca. He's a good member of the Heat community. He'll be coming up on Heating Up the UK next week. He's my special guest for that, so look out for that episode. Right, before we get on to tonight's game against the Atlanta Hawks, one more thing, Sam. Kendrick Nunn, we've covered quite a lot recently. He's becoming a very good defender. This is something that we hadn't, that had never been part of his game recently. is a bona fide starter, isn't he? There's no messing around with this. We keep him as it is. We don't go mucking around with when Hero comes back, when Dragic comes back, about putting this guy back in. Kendrick Nunn's the starter right now. You agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the team are in such a good rhythm with him starting, and it just gives Dragic some time to come off the bench and like blend in. And he does. It's a lot of pressure taken off his shoulders. Same with Tyler Hero as well. We saw the impact that it had when we swapped from Tyler Hero to Nunn rather. But yeah, and as last season he played well, and this season he's playing even better. So
Yeah.
why change it?
Yep, I totally agree. Right, okay, let's leave the fantastic Jazz win there, and let's talk about tonight's game against the Atlanta Hawks. Always a fun game against the Hawks. They're a pretty fun team. They're an up and down team. Just for example, their last 5 has been win, loss, win, loss. Or sort of loss, win, loss, win. So yeah, it's going to be a fun game. The matchup look like this. The Hawks are 14 and 19 record wise, which is good for 11th. Heat obviously are 16 and 17 now, good for 7th. Hawks are 6 and 10 away. The Heat are now 9 and 7 at home. Their last 10, they are 3 and 7. We are 7 and 3, and the odds have this as a Miami -3.5 on the spread. So again, Miami are fancied here, rightly so. Danny, this should be a fun game. It always is a fun game. What are you expecting?
Yeah, I think this will be a fun game. The Hawks aren't very good, sort of in the painted area. You know, they're not a very good sort of rim protecting team. So I expect that you'll see a lot from Jimmy Butler tonight. Again, just continuing to be aggressive. I want to see sort of Bam continue what he was doing. You know, if he can, go at Gary Bear all night, then he can go at Capella or John Collins. So, no, I'm really excited for this game. Attack Trae Young as much as you can. And yeah, no, this will be good. Set the tone for the next game against them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. John, just looking at the Hawks here, I mean, their team on paper, it's decent. I mean, Trae Young, obviously the star player, one of the best offensive players in the league. John Collins, Kevin Huerter, they've all been good. Capella has been good. Should they be better than maybe their record suggests?
I haven't watched much of Hawks, but I think their defense still drags them down. I think it was last year they were pretty decent offensively, but their defense was like one of the worst. So that always just will drag them down. So Trae Young's going to be Trae Young. He's going to put up his great numbers. But then there's the other end as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point. I mean, actually, there's quite a strange stat on the defensive and offensive rating. The Hawks are 24th in defensive rating. The Heat are 9th in defensive rating. And the Hawks are 9th in offensive rating. The Heat are 24th in offensive rating. So it's sort of there, which is quite strange. Sam, keys for tonight, is it just about keeping Trae Young quiet, or are there more to their game?
Yeah, I think because you just stated the stats, and the Hawks are, I'd say, above average offensive team, and their defense is not something to write home about. But just looking at the Heat stats as well, we're a much better offensive team that the stats show. So I'd like to think we'll have a good game offensively, because I don't think they've got the capacity to stop what Jimmy's got, similarly with Bam facilitating as well. I'm looking to see a good game from one of our shooters, Duncan Robinson probably. Is Tyler Hero playing today?
At the moment, it's still questionable. We'll see about that. I think both Butler and Bam are game time decisions, but are expected to be no problems. They're probable, but Tyler may be still a bit more questionable.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun game to watch. Could possibly be a high scoring game. But on offense, I feel the Heat have got enough to contain especially if Bam's playing, the Heat will be able to contain their offense. Because, like you said, 9th defensive rating, and in the last 2 games, we've been a better defensive and offensive team than our stats actually show. So yeah, it'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it should be. Trae Young famously last season had that incredible game at the AAA and called the game over. Remember this game, and then Heat went on to score, I think, 8 unanswered points in about a minute and a half.
I completely forgot about that game. That was a great game.
That fantastic image of Trae just on the bench in overtime, just totally deflated, knowing that he was not going to get away with this one on social media. we've played them, I think, since then, so that's been sort of redeemed. But yeah, Jimmy Butler again in arguably the best form of his career. That seems scary to say. He's going to be the key to this win, do you think, Danny?
Yeah, like I said earlier, they're not a very good sort of internal defensive team. So, Jimmy's game is all about getting to the lane and getting fouled. So I just want to see Jimmy aggressive and continue to do what he's doing. He's carrying a lot, he's carrying a lot for this team. He is he's been the bread and butter of this team, for the past few games since he's back. So, he is doing a lot, but, you trust him to do that. That's what we pay him the big money for. And he's looking good, man. Like his shot is looking great. It looks like he's got his legs under him. So, if he can continue this, up until the break, then yeah, we're in good stead for a couple of W's here, I think.
Yeah, that's it's a good point. And Jimmy, we sort of was a little bit concerned when he came back from COVID, and was having to put some big minutes in and just to drag this team into some sort of win. Doesn't matter how it was. Those concerns for me now have sort of gone away, John, because it's no longer a matter of dragging someone who's missed a lot of time to help us win. He's now looking so sharp, and a sharp Jimmy Butler is going to stack the W's up, right?
Yeah, he's definitely showing since he came back that he's now a lock for like a top 10 player, I would say. Like before this, he was I would put him around that 12 to 15 range. But now I think he's solidified himself as a lock for that top 10. He's given us all, like yesterday we couldn't score late in the fourth. And then he just gets his jab step back jumpers and wills us to win.
Yeah, the sort of debate around Jimmy is he that top 10 player? Because he's right on that periphery. I think a lot of people would have him around top 12, top 13. Sam, after these performances, and I know it's not always about recency bias, etc., but considering not just what he gives you in terms of box score, but his leadership and the fact that just being on the court raises everybody else's game, for me, he gets in that top 10 now. Does he for you?
Trying to pick out who's in my top 10 at the moment, but yeah, he should be really up there in terms of intangibles. And just like us, a Heat fan, we watch Miami games more than the casual fan would, so it's understandable that you'd have him in your top 10, and I would as well. But yeah, he brings so much to the table with regards to Heat games, and like we've seen what's happened when he's been out, in the contrast of how the defense and offense has picked up since he's been back on the court. So yeah, definitely he plays a big part in this team, and we saw his contribution to the finals run last season, and how much his usage wasn't as much as it was this season, but we saw what he was able to do in the playoffs and how far that was able to take the Miami Heat. So yeah, it's definitely, as at the end of last season and in recent times in comparison to the last few games he's played, he's definitely up there as the top player in the league.
Yeah, definitely for me too. Now, just a quick segue. We spoke recently, and Heat Twitter sort of went into mini meltdown when we was on this losing streak about, the fact that a lot of the arguments about trading for a superstar means you don't trade your depth, etc. When you look at players like Iguodala, Gabe Vincent recently, coming off the bench as 8th, 9th, 10th man, and putting in big performances, good numbers, solid minutes. The argument goes back the other way a little bit, Danny, doesn't it? This is something that the Heat have always been strong in. They've always had guys that can go deep off the bench and help you, drag you into solid performances and getting those wins. No more so than the last few games. People like, as I just said, Iguodala especially, Gabe Vincent, last couple of games have been really good and helping us.
Yeah, well, I seen Grant in the comments said, "How about those threes from Iguodala?" He's been pretty great. You can understand
second game in a row as well.
Yeah, I know it's unnerving sometimes, but if they're going in, who cares, right? But yeah, no, you understand why, because understand why Heat Twitter and the Heat fans were clamoring for something and trying to get rid of these guys, because at the time they weren't getting production from anyone. But it just shows that what can happen once you start stringing wins together. The team gets confidence, and then that just trickles down to the bench unit. And like you said, you got Gabe Vincent coming in. I mean, One thing I wanted to bring up actually was, why didn't we see Precious last game, and why did we see KZ? That was really weird. I'm really confused by that.
So in Spoelstra's presser at the end of the game, he mentioned that he opted for KZ for his length, and to be fair, in the few minutes that he played, he was a net positive, so he did contribute to the.
It seems definitely sort of not sure what to do on offense. I can see defensively.
To how you had Iguodala in the game as well. That sort of versatility on the switches.
Can we hear it?
Having a little bit of trouble. Having a little bit of trouble with Sam's feed. Sorry again, Sam. Cutting over you a little bit, but having a little bit of trouble. I saw the same sort of thing with KZ. I had the same sort of thing with KZ. Her hearing that a lot of people want him. A lot of people Heat Twitter are sort of taking him under their wing. They really see the potential there. They want to see him involved. But we've seen him dragged off a number of times early on, especially when he starts. A couple of minutes, off he comes. We don't see him again. And I think that
I'm not sold on him.
They're saying that there's a lot of glitches, I think was the word that was used, and until he sorts those glitches out, then he's not going to be trusted in a minute. So
which is interesting because then you're talking about KZ, right? Or Precious?
KZ, sorry.
Yeah. So they that's how they think about KZ. So why are they putting KZ out there? Like, I understand, like, you want the length. But I mean, I guess the Jazz kind of went a bit small. They didn't go massive. They didn't play. What's the backup center for Utah called again?
This could be.
Who? Sorry.
Was it Niang? No.
No, anyway, regardless, they sized down, but still, it doesn't seem like we're getting too much production from him. And Precious has looked promising. His offensive game is hit and miss, but defensively he's there. So I just thought I'd bring that up because that was a really interesting thing that I was quite confused about, to be honest.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. We'll see what happens with KZ. I think that it probably didn't help him. The hype maybe that around him hasn't helped. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Derek Favors. Yeah, thank you, Twisted.
Well done. Yeah, to our rescue. We'll see what happens. Now, we've spoke before on a few episodes about what the best need is at the moment for the Heat, whether it's another scorer, whether it's somebody at the 4, and we sort of all plumped for the fact that we would take another scorer at the moment. That's the biggest need. But when you see Dragic has come back and he's just looks just seamlessly arrive back in, knocking down 15 to 20 points, etc. Does that now change? Do you think that we've got enough offensively? We still haven't seen. We've still got Tyler Hero to come back in, who is in great form as well. So if we are going to see this tweak in the before trade deadline, do you think now they'll look at another person at the 4 to help us to take the load maybe off of Kelly? John?
I think, because I don't think it's realistic to get a scorer at the trade deadline, and it's much better to get a Tad Young or a Rudy Gay instead. I think Kelly would be much better off the bench with Dragic and Hero and Iguodala than have Gay or Young with Jimmy and Bam, because that would be a much better fit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's what I'm still expecting something to see. Do you sort of follow that logic, Danny?
I echo that too, mate. Yeah, it's not really much more to say about it. We need an upgrade at the position, and KO coming off the bench. He's in a shooting slump right now. He's in a everything slump really at the moment. But he's not a guy. If you're going to go to the finals, he's not a guy that you're going to want to have in your starting lineup. But if you can have him come off the bench and give you some production off the bench, and have, like you said, like a Thad Young or a Rudy Gay, at the 4. I think that's perfect, and that will see us through. Exactly. Exactly. Is that Royal from 5 RSN.
That's Royal from Fire Reasons. Yes, hello,
Nice.
Royal.
What's
Hello.
up, man?
Yes, good to have you on. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I totally echo what you both just said, Danny. That was really well summarised. Yeah, you don't go to the finals with Kelly as you're starting four. So we expect maybe to see something happen there. But whatever happens, we are feeling a lot better about this team now. It's looking rosy. You're excited to watch every game, and you go into every game thinking you're going to win. And that is not something you would have said maybe 10 days or so ago. So it's great to see. We are here for it and totally right. We'll sum up as always with some predictions. Doesn't look like we've got Sam back. He's had his usual internet connection problems, but we'll get his prediction in the chat somewhere. But Danny, I'll start with you. You're going for a Heat win tonight. We're going to continue riding this wave. And what's the score going to be?
Yeah, I'll take the dub. I say 121 to 111.
10-point win. Like it,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, of course I'm going with a win. I would say 115, 103. And I looked at the injury report, and I think Dan is out, Bogdanovic is out, and another third player is definitely out.
Yeah, they've got a few game time decisions, I think, as well. But yeah, they've got Chris Dunn is out. I saw that. I can't remember who the rest were. But yeah, they've got a couple of players missing. Twisted Tapioca here saying, yeah, Hawks are second in field goal in the league. Trey has taken 267. Next highest is Collins at 79. Stop that guy. You stop this team. Yeah. Thank you for being in the chat, guys. This has been really good, hitting us up with some great stats, etc. So yeah, keep coming back and doing that. It's brilliant. Yeah, I totally echo that as well. Trae Young is everything offensively for this team. Again, you stop him, which is not the easiest job. Fantastic player, offensive player, got some great handles. We really enjoy watching Trae. But yeah, you take him away, this should be straightforward. I'm going to go full house with the rest of you guys. I'm going to say a Heat win, 120 to 106. So a 14-point Miami Heat win. So we're looking good. Guys, that was really enjoyable. Sorry we lost Sam, but I really enjoyed that. Thanks to everyone in the comments. Thanks for watching. This will be on the YouTube channel for forever. So please go, if you've missed it, come back and watch. Subscribe, please, to Miami Heat UK TV. It really means a lot to us seeing those subscribers go up. Keep interacting. We will be on the live game feed as always. Hopefully, I won't fall asleep. 1 a.m. tip. But when I have fallen asleep, which has only been 3 times this season, the Heat are 3-0. So perhaps I should.
Get your head down, mate. Yeah,
I'll get my head down. Really enjoyed it. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again in a couple of days' times for the repeat of this whole series. Enjoy the game, guys. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.